your boy young I give him that thing. Punch your leg stay the punch in America. Banyi dwal punch your leg stay the punch in America. Banyi dwal ban wo ko jile kankar watana wache. Oga level gear kwa ogara ile panda wodiya punch in America. Banyi dwal banno chingtongo pandon kujwera baya cheka. Papu panda jwera wodiya bi dwal. Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Panapan Panchaleg.
Welcome to Lagos State Media Show. Bol Makul, unmute yourself when you welcome the guests. Bol, unmute yourself. Yep.
Thank you, Isaac, for welcoming me, and I welcome you too. Our chairman, Mr. Deng Bol, you are welcome to Lagos State Media, and our audience, you are also welcome to Lagos State Media. And before we introduce our chairman, and while we are waiting for our audience to come, we will play one of the songs, and after that song, then we will introduce Deng Bol, the chairman of Red Army Foundation. Thank you all. I will welcome Chairman of the Red Army Foundation, Mr. Deng Bol. You are welcome to brief the Red about the Memorial Park project. You welcome.
Thank you very much,
Chairman.
Thank you very much, Comrade Bol. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Yes, so I have come here today to brief members of the Red Army Foundation all over the world, in Australia, in the United States, in Canada, in South Sudan, in many other countries in Africa and also in Europe, wherever they are. We are here to talk about the Red Army Memorial Project. The Red Army Memorial Park projects are many, and we want to build these projects in the year 2021. We've been talking about this. It began with my visit to Pinindu, where we wanted to build a monument and wanted to build a school there. Unfortunately, that could not work out because of some sentiments that the Anuak people have, and especially their grievances towards the government of the Republic of South Sudan. So that project has been put on hold just a little bit, and we, the Red Army, decided that we will do something in South Sudan. The idea to start in Pinindu was good because we wanted to gain momentum from Pinindu going to South Sudan. It's not because we had forgotten about South Sudan. We wanted to do something in South Sudan, but we wanted to start in Pinindu. And now, since we cannot start in Pinindu, we can go back again and then begin in South Sudan. And that is why we upgraded the things that we wanted to do. And that is to build our permanent headquarters in South Sudan. And that is the Red Army Memorial House. We are also going to build the Red Army Memorial Monument. And we are going to build the Red Army Memorial Museum and the Red Army Memorial Library, in addition to Red Army Memorial School. So these are the things that we wanted to do within one complex or within one facility. And we want to do them in 2021. We have not yet launched the project. I'm just here to brief you on where we are and what we are trying to do right now. In the next few weeks, we are going to be working with our leaderships that we have put together in Australia, in the US, in Canada, and South Sudan to make sure that preparations are put together in order for us to launch. And we are going to launch in South Sudan to begin with, then Australia will follow, and then the United States, and then Canada. This is how we have planned this now. So I have actually come to brief you, and then also to see if there is anything that that our folks at Lake State Media would like to ask us, so that we can make clarifications on these things. Thank you very much. Comrade Bol, you are on mute. You are on mute.
There was a noise.
There you go. You were on mute, yes.
Thank you, Chairman, for
yes.
coming to make a lot of clarification about the project.
Yes.
We had before that the monument will start in Ethiopia, especially in Panyudo, the roots of the lost boys, which are the Red Army. I would like you to brief the lost boys community about it, because you told me last time that we are going to host the Anuak community youth. We were waiting, but did not happen. So tell us about it.
Well, the reason why we wanted to start in Penyudu is simply because I happened to be here in Ethiopia, and I took a trip to Penyudu. I also went to Tarpam, and I was going to go to Itang, but couldn't. I was going to go to Bango, but couldn't. I was not able to go to Dima because the road is still inaccessible. They are working on the road now to Dima. I would have also visited. So Penyudu was the only place I could access at that time. And that is where I was broadcasting live, talking to the Red Army. A lot of the Red Army from all over the Red Army camps were moved. And one of our ideas that we had proposed was that we'll build a monument in recognition of the time that we had spent in Penyudu, and also in honor and in memory of all our brothers and sisters we lost in Penyudu between 1987 to 1991. This idea was welcomed by Red Army all over the world from different camps, and then we started actually mobilizing funds from that time. What happened later on is something that was completely unexpected. The annual people, especially those in diaspora, began to have problems with this, saying that they have grievances and that the SPLA had killed the people, and that the atrocities that were committed by the SPLA during the war have not been explained by the current government of the Republic of South Sudan, that they needed the government to take an initiative of talking to the community first, to at least say thank you for their contribution during the liberation struggle, and also in order to say also sorry for some of the atrocities that may have been committed by the SPLA. We found these grievances to be legitimate, and therefore from there we did not try to impose ourselves on the annual people. I respectfully told them that I'll take your message to the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and members of his cabinet, and see if there's a way they can approach the community of Anua to see if there is a dialogue that they can enter into. That is one. When we said that we were going to build a monument and a school in Penyudu, we were not only focusing on Penyudu, and this is one of the misconceptions that many people have had. We wanted to start in Penyudu. You can start, you can do a lot of things, but you will have to start somewhere. So we said we are going to start in Penyudu, and then we will go to Tarpam, and then we'll go to Dima, we'll go to Poletaka, and we'll go to all the other places. Believe it or not, we still even have a plan to do something in Kakuma, because Kakuma is actually where we spend most of our years before a lot of the Lost Boys went to the United States, to Canada, and to Australia. So this is a project that is going to mark all the places the Red Army had gone to school, that had lived, that had trained, that had fought, that had died on. So this is a vast project, and it's not going to have it's not going to end in 2021. It will continue for the rest of our lives, because we will continue to document and preserve our history throughout the liberation period. So this is basically why we wanted to start in Penyudu. A lot of people in Penyudu, and perhaps Penyudu is the only camp maybe where a lot of the lost boys and girls had died a lot. Why? Because according to the statistics that we had, there were over 26,000 children who were under the age of 15. And during the time that the Lost Boys or the unaccompanied minors at that time, or the Red Army, arrived, conditions were really, really bad, and many people died as a result. So many of the people who had nursed their friends and their relatives on arrival, whose relatives and friends died on arrival, and who had undergone that traumatic situation of seeing them die are the ones who even said that we are going to make this happen by all means. They said that we will contribute our own money. So this the monument that was going to be built in Penyudu was an emotional one. Now coming to our rollout, we decided to meet recently, and we said, okay, even if we cannot go to Penyudu, that's not a problem. We can come back to Penyudu later on when there's an understanding between the government of South Sudan and the annual community. But in the meantime, what we can do is to actually raise funds and put up something in South Sudan, the Red Army Memorial House, the Red Army Memorial Library, the Red Army Memorial Museum, and the Red Army Memorial School. These things are things that we wanted to put up in South Sudan. So we are now working it backward. What we wanted to do first was Pinyundu, and then we go to South Sudan. But now we are going to begin in South Sudan, and we build these facilities, and then we'll continue to build to mark all the other locations where the Red Army had gone to school, where the Red Army had been trained, where the Red Army had died, and where the Red Army had lived. Thank you very much. So this is basically how it was going to go. I don't want people to continue to have this misconception that it is about the Red Army or Pinyundu. If you think that it is because it is the Red Army of Penyudu that is doing this, then it will not stop the Red Army of Penyudu from doing something. But you will be left out of the history that you were part of. You see, like if a monument is built today, and it is built in recognition of all the Red Army, and the contribution come from a certain group of people, and these are the people who are going to put their names on this monument as the people who have made this monument possible. You'll be left out of it thinking it belongs to the people of Pinyundu. But no, it belongs to all the Red Army. And in fact, we are not only reaching out to the Red Army, we are reaching out also to our chiefs. We are reaching out to our communities because the Red Army were mobilized from all villages of South Sudan. So we don't want any tribe or any section or any region or any community to be left out of this. We are also reaching out to our former camp managers, our former teachers, our former caretakers, our former field commanders, and all the zonal commanders, including even His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Sudan. Because we are not only preserving the legacy of the Red Army, we are actually preserving the legacy of SPLM, SPLA, because we, the Red Army, were called the SPLM, SPLA Red Army. So there can never be Red Army without the SPLM, and there can never be Red Army without the SPLA. Thank you very much. Comrade Bol, you are on mute. You are on mute.
I heard that you have talked about these projects will be established and built in such places that you mentioned. And you know that lost boys have many of them lost their life in these areas. And in the long run, there will be commemorating that should be done in these places. How will the lost boy reach these places since they are very far, and people have already moved to the other near sites that SPLA uh, established when they get independent? How are we going back later to commemorate or honoring our martyrs? Because I know that Dima, Panido, right now they are very far, and our people will not make it to such places. How are we going to do it?
Yes, the places where the Red Army had lived, had studied, or had trained before are places that are going to remain historical. The Red Army do not have to live in those places because majority of these places are in Ethiopia. Some of them are scattered all over South Sudan, and they belong to specific communities. So basically, they will be remembered as places that had actually contributed to the liberation struggle, that had hosted people from different parts of southern Sudan and also from the north, who were basically, fighting for liberation of the new Sudan. So these places are going to remain historical. And when you talk about people going to commemorate, say for instance, if we build a monument in Poletaka or in Moli or in Kakuma or in Golkur, in Pochala, the only thing that needs to be done here is that you, as an individual, can go to that location and go and pay tribute to the Red Army, to the Red Army who had lived there before. So that is basically the whole idea. It's a matter of making sure that you pay tribute to the service of the Red Army or the contribution that they had made during the liberation struggle. So these are places that are going to remain in history as places that had contributed to the history or to the story of the Red Army. They don't have to be owned by the Red Army, but we can always visit. Like a lot of the Lost Boys now are living in the US, Canada, and Australia. Of course, occasionally they come home. If you were Red Army from Polotaka, or you come from Dima, or you come from Tarpam, or you were, in any other place, you can come back to South Sudan and then proceed to this area where you can pay tribute, and then later on, go back to wherever you come from. But also, we want to create a certain place inside of South Sudan where we are going to put a grand monument. And on this monument, we will have names of all the camps of the Red Army. And under those camps, we are going to write the names of the people that we had lost there. So it will be like a permanent burial ground for all our members, including what we call the known and the unknown. The unknown are some of the Red Army that we do not know whether they are alive or dead, but mostly presumed dead because they have not been traced since maybe 1990s until now. We will also remember them there. So most of the time, many people wouldn't have to go to places like Tarpam or to Pinyundu because these names will be remembered on the monument, and those who had died in those areas will also be recognized on the monument. Thank you. Comrade Ball, you are still on mute. You are on mute. I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, guys. I mute myself so we can be in a very calm environment.
Okay.
I am saying that I will take you back to Penido, because generation go and generation come. When we were in Ethiopia, we know that SPLA had politicized, the environment, and everybody around us was very calm. When you go back, when you went back recently to Penido, how do you look at the community? Are they aware of Lost Boys or the Red Army background? Are they knowledgeable about it?
Yes, it's been 31 years, 32, 33, 34, 35 years since we arrived in Pinyundu many years ago. But it has been about 31 years since we were last in Pinyundu. So when you look at it, that's a long time. That is 3 decades. Even those who were older at that time, those who were in their 20s are now in their 50s. Those who were in their 30s are now in their 60s. and you know, those who were like 70 or 80 years old are long gone right now. So the young ones, the ones who were born around the time we were there, you know, still remember our time there. And uh, like even in the video, there was a gentleman that was there. He was very young. He was also going to school with us. Also, we were able to meet another guy who was also in Marcus, you know, so they can remember the time that the Red Army lived there. But what I had actually found in Penyundu is that majority of the people who remembered the Red Army are no longer there, because some of them, you know, there were a lot of change or changes that took place during that time, and many people look. I mean, when at that time when we were in Penyundu, at least because of the education that was available, a lot of the Anuak were going to school with us. But when we left, they had nowhere else to go to school because they had no English schools there. It was only Amharic. So a lot of them moved to Kenya. A lot of them became refugees. And these are the ones that had actually found a way to go to places like the United States. And you can also, you know, conclude that some of the Anuak went even abroad as South Sudanese. Some of them went as Ethiopians, but majority of them went as South Sudanese. So basically, a lot of the young people who were of our age during the war, after we left, also left. And of course, you know, that place was not stable for some time during those years. So this kind of displaced a lot of people. But there are memories of the Lost Boys and of the Red Army presence at that time. They're still known in the camp. What I had also found out that is that the camp has really changed simply because of the environmental factors. The camp has expanded. It was actually disbanded for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years, between 1991 to 1993. So by the time the camp was resettled in 1993, a lot of the houses that were built had gone. And right now, when I went back to the camp, I did not recognize anything very much, but I only found the hospital, those infrastructure that were within a Genga that were built with concrete are the ones that still exist. Otherwise, the houses that were built with wood and grass are no longer there. So that's basically what I had found out, and yeah, pretty much the camp has really changed. Now you have what you call a Ganga, which is now the town, which is Pinyundu town. This includes the place that we were staying before, and then you have Pinyundu 1, then you have Pinyundu 2. So what used to be Pinyundu 1, what used to be Pinyundu 2 is now Pinyundu 1. And then Pinyundu 2 is a little bit ahead of it because the camp has really changed. Even there's electricity. And, you know, there are a lot of buildings that are there that were not there before. Again, it's been 30 years, so it's understandable. And the camp was resettled again in 1993. And this was like long time ago. Just like the same time we settled, we actually settled in Kakuma. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, everybody is happy when we hear about the coming of the project, including me and other Lost Boys. And I appreciate you for you giving us some answers. But I will take you back a little bit to how the project will be planned. Since many Lost Boys have not heard about the project and they don't know how the project will be run, can you talk about the resources mobilization for the project?
Yes. Basically, what has happened is that we have organized ourselves into 4 countries. We have South Sudan, we have the United States of America, we have Canada, and we have Australia. These countries are led by country directors, and under them are state representatives, and under the state representatives are city coordinators. These are the people who are going to register the names of all the lost boys and girls, also known as the Red Army, and their families. This is not an individual project. It is a project of the lost boys and girls and also of the Red Army. So we are Red Army and we are also lost boys. Somebody had asked, someone by the name Arop Aboch had asked that what is the difference between the Red Army and the Lost Boys? Comrade Arop, if you do not know the difference, let me explain to you. All of us from the 1990s until now, we are known as the Red Army of South Sudan. Red Army was a name that was given to a young person or a child during the liberation struggle. Someone who is below the age of 18 was given that particular name, the Red Army. And the Red Army, in the word of Dr. John Garang, in 1998 in Itang said that we now have Red Army, that I am Jech Aswad. He referred to himself as Jech Aswad. And he said we have Red Army and we have other Red Army being born. So a Red Army is a continuous thing that continue to come. There are generations and generations of the Red Army. So you as someone who was conscripted into the Red Army service, or you who was born during the liberation struggle, and was a young person during the liberation struggle is a Red Army. The children that you are giving birth to are Red Army, so long as you still believe in the ideology of the liberation struggle under SPLM, SPLA, Red Army. Now, when you talk about the Lost Boys, this is specific to those Red Army who had gone to the United States, to Canada, and into Australia. Those who had gone outside the country were the ones that were given that name. I was one of those people. I went to the United States and lived there for 8 years. I am one of the lost boys and lost girls of South Sudan. So I am both a Red Army and a lost boy. You can be both a Red Army and a lost boy, and you can be only a Red Army without being a lost boy. Because if you have not resettled outside the country or in the West during the war, then you are still Red Army. But you can also be a lost boy and not a Red Army, but still be part of the Red Army if you are a young person who is in the West. For instance, the term lost boy encompasses all the children that were resettled in the US, Canada, and Australia during the liberation struggle. For instance, those who were in the North and were in Egypt and were resettled and ended up in Canada or Australia and the United States are today known as the lost boys. So the term lost boy or lost boys or lost girls or lost girl or lost girls was taken to mean children that were resettled that come from the Sudan. This is basically what had happened at that time. Now, we, since majority of these people are part of the Red Army service during the liberation struggle, this is why the term now applies to all of us, those who had found resettlement outside the country. At the same time, we are all Red Army because it is the same group of people that had gone abroad that actually ended up being called the lost boys and lost girls. So we are the lost boys, and at the same time, we are the lost girls. Now, when it comes to resource mobilization for these specific projects, we said, and our vision here is a united Red Army family for a stronger Red Army community, building a better South Sudan. So basically, this slogan is very good. Why? Because we are no longer the young children that arrived in Ethiopia at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, or 15 or 16 years old. No, we are now adult. Majority of us are in our late 30s, our 40s, and our 50s. We all have families and children. So basically, we are no longer single. And this is why we think that we are Red Army families that are building a Red Army community. Our numbers have actually tripled since that time because a lot of us have families. So even when we mobilize funds, we are not going to mobilize funds as individuals. We are mobilizing funds as families. So it will be Deng Bol Aruai Bol and family, and the amount that I am contributing in memory of the Red Army service, in memory of those who died during the war, as a tribute to the contribution of the Red Army to the liberation of South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for such great explanation. Chairman, if I may ask you, what are the when did this foundation establish? When was it founded?
The Red Army Foundation was founded on the 29th of July 2012 in Juba, South Sudan. It was a result of many meetings and many dialogues among the Red Army members in order for them to create an umbrella organization. And it eventually came together on the 28th and the 29th of July 2012 when delegates from all the camps of the Red Army came to Nyakren Cultural Center and had a two-day conference, which actually concluded on the 29th of July 2012 with the formation of the Red Army Foundation. It was actually as a result of about 2 years of a lot of meetings and a lot of events being commemorated without a specific name. But when the conference or when we had a consultative conference within those 2 days, on the 29th, on the 28th and the 29th, is when the foundation finally came together. Many people have always asked that, how did we come up with that day, especially the 29th? The 29th was picked as the Red Army Day to pay tribute to the late Dr. John Garang, the first commanding officer of the Red Army. That was the day that he left going to Uganda. And when he came back the next day, on the 30th, he died without coming. I mean, he died on the way coming back to South Sudan. So the Red Army actually attributed this day, or established this day and call it the Red Army Day. The 29th of July of every year is Red Army Day, commemorating the contribution of the Red Army to the liberation struggle, but specifically being the 29th, the last day in which the Red Army was with the former commanding officer, the late Dr. John Garang Damabir.
Thank you, Chairman. What are the structures of your organization, and how the community of the Lost Boys involved now?
Well, the community of the Lost Boys has evolved so far because one, in the United States and Canada and also in Australia, we have organizations that have kept the tradition of making sure that the Red Army or the Lost Boys stay united and connected at all times. And some of the organizations are successful. Unfortunately, some of them have not been successful. And we hope that this project here, which we have as the Red Army Project, is a project that we think can unite us as a way that we can all come together and do something in order for us to protect, to preserve and to protect our legacy, our shared history. And this can hopefully become our shared future. This is basically what we've been doing. Coming to South Sudan, the Red Army Foundation has kept all of us united all these years in a way that, we have been commemorating the Red Army Day, Martyrs Day, 16th of May, which is called the SPLA Day, and then also Independence Day. These are days that we have always commemorated. We have always come together as the Red Army. So it has always been like that.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I read something somewhere that Red Army Foundation was established in South Sudan, and you said it also, and also
Yes.
here in the United States, it is registered as the Lost Boys Foundation. So how are we going to? Because remember back then when we were in Ethiopia, we were muchly a little bit of communists before we changed to all this. And when you talked about the Red Army, and we will be here raising the fund in United States under the Red Army. How will this formation go about? Because I don't understand how are we going to raise money as Red Army while people here in this country that know that we are the Lost Boys, and the foundation is like getting two names right now. People will confuse.
I
Explain
I
this briefly.
I remember attending an event in which Dr. John Garang had attended in 2004 in the United States. And Dr. John was saying that don't be mad when you are referred to as a lost boy or a lost girl. To us, you are not lost. It's a nickname. He said even when I was in school, I had a nickname. So the name lost boy or lost girl is your nickname, but your actual name, your birth name, is the Red Army. The name Red Army, of course, was basically copied from maybe Russia and China, and we know that history very well. But it is not actually the main issue here. When you change political allegiance, you don't change your name. It doesn't happen like that. If I joined a Republican Party and later on I switched and say I want to be Democrat, I will not change my name from something else. I will remain as Deng Bol Aruai. Even when the SPLM SPLA changed from being supported by the communist regimes in Russia or maybe China or those of or Ethiopia or Cuba, they did not change their names. They only changed their ideology. So the name Red Army has no problem at all. Even in the United States, we have the Salvation Army, and it is a non-profit organization. The Salvation Army is also a church. It's also one of the Christian denominations. So the name here has no problems. In South Sudan, we are known by the Americans. I go to the U.S. Embassy and they refer to me as Chairman Deng Bol Aruai, Chairman of the Red Army Foundation. They know the Red Army. It is like the John Smith. If there is something that John Smith, the John Smith of Russia, is different from the John Smith of America, but they are all John Smith. So if there is something wrong with the John Smith of Russia, who is a communist, that does not make the John Smith of America a communist. That is basically what is happening. And the Americans understand this, that they don't have any problem with the name Red Army. But coming to your question, we are not going to force anyone to contribute to this project. This is an emotional project, and the people that are more than willing to contribute money to this project are the Red Army themselves, who had gone through the Red Army service and their families. It is being done to honor every Red Army who had suffered and who had contributed to the liberation struggle, as well as those that are no longer alive and that are not with us today because their lives were taken by the liberation war. So this here will not need a lot of explanation because the name is the name. It is very difficult to change your name to fit circumstances. That's not how you work. You only change your name because you want to, but not because other people don't like it. The Americans have no problem with the name Red Army. And even if you ask for support in the name of the Red Army, you have no problem. But you are still a lost boy and you are still a lost girl there. We also have an organization that is already registered in the United States, Canada, and Australia that is called the Lost Boys and Girls Memorial Foundation. The reason why we continue to talk about the name Memorial, even the Red Army Foundation, we may one day be changed to Red Army Memorial Foundation, is that we do not have the program that is active right now that is bringing up the Red Army in a combat kind of situation or in an organized situation as a school program. Therefore, we are only commemorating what had happened before during the liberation struggle. And that's why we call them memorial projects and memorial programs. And that's why the foundation that we have in the United States is called Red Army Memorial Lost Boys and Girls Memorial Foundation. What we also see happening here is that we want to limit the use of Red Army to South Sudan, like Red Army Foundation. But in the United States, we'll be trading. Our business name will be Lost Boys and Girls because it is the same thing. We are the Lost Boys and we are also the Red Army. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman of the Red Army Foundation. Great explanation. I would like you to take 2-minute break while I'm playing this video. That will refresh the mind of the Lost Boys if they remember it. That's be good. Take a break, and I will bring you back. Don't have to go somewhere. You can just stay on your spot while I'm playing this video.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
ورئيس الحركة عشان أتكلم معاكم اليوم. عشان كده ما عندي كلام كثير لكم أكثر من أن أقول لكم أسفل وياه أسفل وياه. هاي ويليام يون رئيس هيئة أركان. يا مرايا سجلي وياه. صباح الخير. صباح النور. كلام انا بقول كلام بسيط عشان ناخذ فرصه لغايه العام. لان نبقى مدورين في ناس ومن برجع ناس ورا عشان الكلام الحقيقي. انت ما ممكن تنسى حقوق وانت تقول انا سوري. الكلام ده كلام عجيب جدا. نحن ماشيين قدام ونحن جينا هنا قدامكم هنا. نحن ما بتكلم كثير. في كل سنه بيجينا لنا من الناس في خرطوم اولاد البلد كل زول هم راكبين جمل واحد، ده يقوم وده يركب ونحن بننزل وده يركب لحد هم ينتهى. وشكرا. لكم عشان تسمعوا كويس. طبعا اسمع هنا أمروا إيه؟ صباح الخير. أنا مبسوط اليوم عشان نحن نكون هنا في فنيدو في المعسكر بتاعكم، معسكر بتاع الشعب بتاع السودان الجديد بتاع الجيش الأحمر. أنا مبسوط معكم. أنا عاوز نسلم السادسة بتاعكم بيشتغل نهار وليل عشان يعلمكم الأمهات بتاعكم القاعد معكم، وإنتم اللي عملتوا شغل الكثير ده. أنا عاوز نقول مبروك عليكم عشان أنا كنت هنا السنة اللي فاتت بالضبط، بقى السنة وقد أنا كنت هنا معكم، والظروف زمن ده كانت ظروف صعبة، لكن قدرتوا يا انتم عملتوا البيوت بتاعكم، عملتوا مدارس بتاعكم، وانتم هسه قاعدين في محل كويس. وقد انتم جيتوا محل ده كان غابة ساكت. قدرتوا فنيدو هسه.
Thank you, Chairman, for being patient while I am playing the video. You know the reason why I played the video, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
is because I believe you hear when Comrade John Garang, the chairman of the SPLA, is speaking, and the reason why I played this video is because you came with a project, but I don't know if you are aware that the unity of the Lost Boys, the unity of the Red Army, is already broken. I don't know if you are aware of this. I played this video so it can refresh the mind of the Red Army. Together, our thoughts and our strength, like the way we are coming together in Panyudo, in Idimo, and in Itang, we will build this project very well. And that's why I played the video so the Lost Boys can look at it and and bring their mind back to the way we used to be. So, as the chairman of the Red Army Foundation, can you talk about the unity of the Jejalame here
thank
and
you
back?
very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Bol. Let me say this. Yes, one of the challenges of the Red Army is that, one, we are not united and we are not organized. Because we have this issue and this notion of us not believing in ourselves and not being able to come together to do one thing. We always turn to be against each other, even if we are trying to do something that brings all of us together. Now, when we were in Ethiopia, the houses that were there were built by us. They were not built by one person. It was a contribution from all of us. When we go to war, we go together. When we go to school, we go together. When we go to fetch water, we fetch water together. When we want to go and collect firewood, we do it together. Everything that we did in all our camps, from Bilfam to Bongo to Tarpam to Pinyindu to Dima to all the other places in South Sudan, Poletaka, Mary, and Moli, and other places in Gaz, and all the other battalions and divisions of the Red Army during the liberation struggle, beginning with that or more, you will realize that we did all this and we all succeeded because we were doing all these things together. The Red Army Foundation is the only umbrella organization in the Republic of South Sudan, and it will remain that way. The leadership may change, but the Red Army Foundation will not change because it's the umbrella organization. So that's not an issue there. It is also the Maba Mulube Kasha. And ideology of the people are not the same. Characters of the people are not the same. Let me give you a perfect example. There is someone here by the name Arop Aboj, attacking me. I am talking, and I'm the chairman of the Red Army Foundation. This shows that there are people within the Red Army who are no longer conformed to the ideals of what we are doing together. He's saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's a she or a he, because the name Arop and Aboy, I cannot tell. He or she said was, from more, and all this. He actually or she does not know
Chairman,
that I know.
Hold on,
Yes.
Chairman, I would like you to stop you a little bit from that. Reason
Yes.
why I will not invite anybody to defend himself,
Yes.
and because of that, I would like you to
Yes.
ignore
It's
Mr.
okay. It's okay. It's
Abot,
okay. I am.
because we are going to host you second time, so the lost boys will be invited to the screen. Whoever will
Exactly.
attack you, you will respond to him, and
Yes.
whoever will
No,
contribute to the project.
Comrade Ball, I am giving an example as to why the unity of the Red Army does not seem to be what it should be. We cannot force people to come together. But what people do not know is that 99.99% of the Red Army agree. We may have different political opinions. We belong to different communities. We belong to different tribes. We belong to different regions. We belong to different political parties. Just like we belong to different cultures and different religious backgrounds. But there's something that we all agree on, and that is the Red Army. We all agree or agreed that we suffered together during the liberation struggle, that what took us to the bush was the liberation of what we now know as the Republic of South Sudan. If we bring together a program like this and say this is what we want to do, it is not done for Deng Bol. It is not done for a specific person like Bol Makur, but it is being done in honor of all the Red Army who suffered and contributed during the liberation struggle, and especially those who paid with their lives, you see, so that we can have a country that we call South Sudan today. If that cannot unite us, then nothing else can unite us, because we are now saying that, yes, we all agree that we were part of the liberation struggle, that we were young, that we all suffered together, different times for different mission, okay, from in different places. And those who are alive today, us who are alive today, are grateful that we became survivors of that liberation struggle. And we all contributed one way or the other. And fortunately, we lost brothers and sisters along the way. And these are the people that we actually want to honor with these memorial projects. that we are having now. The Red Army, people think that the Red Army are not united. It is what brings us together that does not exist. When I was broadcasting live in Penyindu, many people offered. They offered money. They said, whatever project that needs to be done in Penyindu, here's my contribution. People pledged $100. People pledged $500. People pledged 1,000 US dollars. The Red Army are there. If I ask the Red Army today and say, give me money so that I can go and fund projects of the SPLM, it's not all the Red Army who are going to give. It is only those who support the SPLM. If I say today, give me money, I want to go and build a school in my village, they will say no. Some of them will not fund this project because it's something I'm taking to my village. But when I ask them that let us build a monument in order for us to honor our contribution to the liberation struggle and to pay tribute to those who had died during the liberation struggle. This is a project that only those who do not want anything good for South Sudan would object to. But in my opinion, based on the consultation that I have had, I have only found a few people to be indifferent to this idea. Otherwise, I would say 99.99% of the Red Army and the Lost Boys are on board with this project. And that's what gave me so much confidence that this project is going to work, because it is not an individual, or it's not an individualistic project. It's a project that honors us from 1983 to 2005 and continuing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Deng Bol, as you the chairman of the Red Army and of the Lost Boys, and you went to many, when you were here, you went to many states. And right now back home, you went to many places. And uh, and Lost Boys, which are the Red Army, used to have somebody that they love so much, which is Dr. John Garang. Do you think the Lost Boys have inherited the legacy of their father?
Well, yes. One of the things that we are going to do, we cannot talk about the Red Army without mentioning those who were with us during the liberation struggle. And on top of the
Absolutely.
list is the late Dr. John Garang Domobir. We cannot also forget CDR or Commander Carbino Kwaimin Bol. We cannot also forget Commander William Nguyen Ban. We cannot forget now President Salva Kiir Mayardit. We cannot forget Commander Arok Ton and all the other leaders going to zonal commanders. Zonal commanders are those of Dr. Riek Machar, those of Commander Kwal Manyang, Duke, those of Commander Awed Akut, those of Vice President Commander Dr. James Wan Iga, going all the way to Commander Magni Poch. All these people played a role in the upbringing, the organization and upbringing of the Red Army. The other group are our former field commanders, those who led the Red Army to battle during the during the liberation struggle. Those who taught the Red Army, those who educated the Red Army, those are the teachers. Those who cared for the Red Army, nurtured the Red Army, and were almost like the parents of the Red Army. And those are the caretakers of the Red Army. We can also not forget friends of the Red Army, organizations and individuals. And I'm talking about organizations like Save the Children. I'm talking about people like Ali Bell, the Rip, who was one of the caretakers. A lot of people contributed to the lives of the Red Army during the liberation struggle. We cannot also forget people who received us in the United States, in Canada, in Australia, and in Europe when we first arrived in the early 2000s and all this. We cannot forget. We cannot also forget all those countries and individuals who supported the SPLM, SPLA liberation struggle. So, well, my brother, when you hear that we are building a monument, we are not building a monument for something very simple. We are not building a monument for one thing. We are building this monument in order for us to take everything. It is going to be where we are going to acknowledge the contribution of each and everyone who contributed to the success of the Red Army and the success of SPLM, SPLA that gave us what is called South Sudan. It is also going to be a permanent grave, a permanent tomb for all our lost brothers and sisters. And that's why we call it a memorial monument, because it will now be the place where the souls of our brothers, our brothers and sisters, or the Red Army martyrs will live forever. Their lives will hang around that monument as a manifestation from the Red Army that we miss them, that we thank them, that we honor them, and that most importantly, that we appreciate them for giving their lives so that we can have a country we call South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman of the Red Army. We are almost done with our show, and I'm honored to have you today. Now, I want to come back.
Excuse me, Comrade Bol. Let me say this. My brothers and sisters, I know the host of the show, Mr. Bol Makur, had already told me that I don't have to respond to comment. But it's very important that we listen and that we follow what the people are talking about. No one said here that the monument is going to be built in Ethiopia. We are talking about South Sudan, not Ethiopia. Okay? So please stop mixing things. No one said that this project was going to be built in Ethiopia. We are now acquiring land in South Sudan. We are mobilizing resources in South Sudan and also abroad in order for us to build the Red Army Memorial Monument, the Red Army House, the Red Army Library, and museum and school in South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. What I was referring to is if somebody talk to you like it's an argument that will lead into personalities, that's what I was trying to stop. But
yeah, Comrade Bol, can we go on break so that I can take some water?
Okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
I will give you a break while I'm playing one of the video.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, in fact, I may not tell you how we can plan to take Wow, but as I can tell you that Wow, we can capture it at any time.
Our forces actually have surrounded the whole.
This one too might not hold. Soldiers were marching off towards Wow, marching into Africa's longest and most brutal civil war.
لازم تحترموا لازم تحترموا 34 سنة لا جبال ولا جنوب الجول يحكم الوطن 34 سنة 34 سنة ولا جبال ولا جنوب الجول يحكم الوطن 34 سنة 34 سنة يا قرن 34 سنة يا قرن يا قرن 34 سنة أنا إحنا جينا دايرين سلاحنا عشان نحرر الوطن 34 سنة 34 سنة ولا حرية ولم نفذ النسيم 30 سنة يقولوا لنا انتم أنانا يقولوا لنا انتم أنانا ونحن ديش الثورة 34 سنة 34 سنة هيا يا قرن 34 سنة هيا يا قرن 34 سنة 34 سنة ولا يقولوا لنا انتم أنانا ونحن ديش الثورة 34 سنة جرأنا سؤالي قلنا يا البلاد رشاش يضرب وأنا سوداني ومن أجل الحرية رشاش يضرب من أجل الحرية رشاش يضرب وأنا سوداني ومن أجل الحرية رشاش يضرب أنا سوداني ومن أجل الحرية ومن أجل البلاد الضمير حاجر وأنا سوداني ومن أجل البلاد الضمير حاجر وأنا سوداني
If you are ready, come and welcome her. Stand by. All the women who are ready to come and welcome her, stand by her. Thank you.
And that's what she have done today. So why are we in this uniform? The red scarf is here to represent the loss, the people we have lost to our country, and the white shirt is here to represent the peace we have achieved.
We have to thank John Garang, who brought us into this stage. And I have to thank my people, the younger people, the old people who died for our land, for our freedom. Those who do not know me, my names are Victoria, Adar, Aro, John, Dua. I am from northern Maral, Kazan. The second time, I am a widow. My husband lost his life because of this country of South Sudan. So I have suffered. My people, I started the work of national duty in 1955. When both of you were not even born. I entered the politics in 1955 on the 18th August 1955 when the war broke out in Turin. I was there and we were aware that we were coming to separate from the North Sudan. Second, and also I acted very, very seriously when I was a clinical officer. Somebody said before that I am a medical doctor. I am not a medical doctor, I am a clinical officer. First class clinical officer. I did my training in WAM. And also I entered nursing school for 3 years. I have a certificate in nursing. And also I entered midwifery school. I'm a midwife. I'm the first class midwife. And still people are calling me that I'm not educated. So I have started the book which is called An Educated Woman. I did not complete it, but it's going to be completed soon. When I heard the message of invitation, that I have been invited by my children, I was very sick. I was, you see, I have reached 77 years, and I'm still active. I'm still active in the service. So I was very happy, although the embassy of this country rejected that I am now in a bad age and I cannot board the plane. And they told them you will have another person to look after her on the plane. You try your best. They rejected. They rejected because of this age. But my people, Judge Ammar, tried their best. I am there now in this country. First of all, I have to thank the people of this country because they have did a lot. The government of this country have taught my children, have done everything. I am very happy and I have to thank them in front of God. And also I have to thank those people who have been studying for a long time the security of this country. They are there standing for our life. So my children, you consider these people, this country is very important to our people. This is our country. This is our own country. But they have done a lot for my children. I am very happy. I am very happy. And now you know that it is your strength that I was sent to the general training, I was trained, and I was promoted as a surgeon in Dima. After another 9 months, I was sent to Bongo. Please, those who were in Dima, I want to know them whether they are here or not. Those who were in Dima, where are you?
We are here.
Badan sade budwa, badan sade budwa, badan. Malum meri bajrmena, hasir. Malum meri bajrmena. I'm not part of the position, but I want to leave the history to the children, to my children. I will do it. It is a war. You have divided yourself. When we were in Dima, you know what happened, what I did in Dima. When one person was sick and admitted in the hospital, we have to take another person to go and look after that one. And they cannot communicate. They don't know Arabic, they don't know Dinka, but they were there. They were helping the people. Why you live in this one? You our people, our country, that is going to remove that man. And they bring another man. Because we are all citizens of this country. Yes, reason. That decision is very dangerous. It was a
Chairman of the Red Army Foundation. Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, I believe we have exhausted many parts of this interview,
Yes.
and I will bring it back a little bit to you, because I know you were Red Army, so you traveled back home to Ethiopia. What part were you? Were you in Peñido? Hold on, somebody is knocking at my door. Hold on.
Okay. Yes, Comrade Ball, you are on mute. You are on mute.
Yes, I was on mute because I was having a guest.
Yes, I have seen.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you asked me a question. Yes,
Yeah,
I was in Peñindo. I was in Peñindo. I was in Group 8, Sria Wula, Fasila Tani. So I was in Peñindo from 87 to 1991. Also, I was in Kakuma, and of course, all the places that the Lost Boys had gone through, or that the Red Army had gone through, including Pochala. I was in Pochala, and then we went to Capoeira, from Capoeira to Nairus, Lokuchokyo, and then Kakuma. I was in Kakuma refugee camp for about 6 years, and then 2 years in Nairobi, then went to the US for 8 years, and now I've been back in South Sudan for the last 13 years. So this is basically how I've spent my time as a Red Army. There's another thing that people don't understand. We never graduate as Red Army. When you are conscripted into the Red Army service, whether military or IDP or refugee during the liberation struggle, you remain as Red Army. And that's why even at the age of 60, 70, 80 years old, we will continue to know ourselves as Red Army. It's actually the same thing, just like the way it was during the liberation, during the wars in China and in Russia. The army, the entire army, was actually called Red Army. And the vision of the SPLM-SPLA, actually beginning in 1986, all the way to 87. And the reason why in 1987, a lot of children were mobilized in the villages in Equatoria, in Upper Nile, in Barghazal, in southern Kordofan, in Nuba Mountains, and many other places in Sudan, is because the SPLM-SPLA had a vision of creating a new army after the old army, which they used to call Jesh Aswad. And that's why they wanted to make sure, and according to John Garang, We had about 7 to 10,000 in Tarpam. We had almost 20,000. I mean, we had almost 30,000 in Penyudu, and we had almost 20,000 in Dima. So the vision is, and what is usually called an army, is a group of men and women that constitute up to 100,000. So Dr. John Garang wanted to have a new army, wanted to phase out the army. The phasing out of the army was going to begin with all the other battalions, the founding battalions of the SPLM SPLA, and one was basically 104, 105, and then you come to Jamus Tiger Utimsa, and then you come to more Koryom division and more division. All these divisions and battalions of the SPLM, SPLA, or the SPLA were actually wearing out, were getting old. Some, then were getting killed. They were also deserting. They were leaving the army. Some of them were getting disabled or wounded. So basically, the SPLM, SPLA had a vision to create a new army after all these battalions and divisions. So that's how the Red Army came about. And if it wasn't because of what had happened in 1991, if we had lived in Ethiopia for another 10 years, there would have been a new army that would have been selected among the Red Army. Those who are fit would have been selected now to form the new army of the SPLA. And that would have been now the army that was going to lead the new war. Either, if we had achieved the liberation immediately after that, then this will now become the national army, like the SPLA or the SSPDF that we have just now. So this is basically the SSPDF we have now. That was the vision. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned, and as you know, because of the war, because of what had happened in 1991 with the Mengistu government, and then from Mengistu government, what had happened to the SPLA, and especially with the split. So this is basically what had happened at that time, and this is and that's what interrupted the program of the Red Army. Yes. Sorry, there's someone calling me. Let me see which one now. I have like 5 devices that this thing ringing.
Chairman, you can mute yourself and you can.
Yeah, I think what will happen now is, let me just say this in closing, that the Red Army, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. My appeal to all of you is that remember your history. Remember to protect it and remember to preserve it so that it can live on, so that you can pass it to your children and the children of your children, so that it lives forever, because you have a place in the history of the Republic of South Sudan. You have a place in the contemporary history of our people, the people of the Republic of South Sudan. These projects that we are working on now are very prominent. And these are projects that we are not forcing anyone to be part of. These are emotional projects. They are actually personal to many people. And don't expect all of you to contribute to it, because Red Army is a community. It's a family, and it's a community that is made up of families. We don't expect everybody to be on the same page. We don't expect everybody to have the same opinion. We don't expect everybody to be to buy this idea of the monument or of the school or of the library or museum. People have different interests in life, but I am confident, based on a lot of people that we have talked to, that majority of the Red Army want this done. So those who are against it should also know that it will be done, whether with or without their support. And I think it should be very, very clear so that we don't get discouraged, because one, you know, if you own something, you believe that it belongs to you, then it is you to do it. You don't expect anyone else to do it. The history of the Red Army belongs to us and it's ours. And we are going to make sure that this is definitely done, and it will be done as soon as possible. So, yeah, thank you. So actually, this would be my message to all of you. And very soon, in the next 2 weeks, we are actually launching in Juba, South Sudan. We are inviting His Excellency the President. We are inviting all the vice presidents, beginning with the first vice president and the other vice presidents. We are inviting the leaders of the SPLM, the leaders of SSPDF, leaders of other political parties, the senior Red Army, members of the Red Army, our chiefs, and all the citizens of the Republic of South Sudan to participate in the launch of this. I don't want us, the Red Army, to say that this project belongs to so and so. No, this project belongs to the people of South Sudan. It is the one that talks about our history, our shared history. We all participated in the liberation struggle in our own ways, in all the suffering that we've been to, everything that we've been to as Red Army and as Lost Boys and girls. We all know this. We come from different communities, we come from different regions, from different families, and we also have to honor these people, because without them, we would have not even ended up where we ended up, because they are the ones who mobilized us. They contributed us. Each community contributed us to the SPLM, SPLA. And that's why we were there under the care of SPLM, SPLA. They were taking care of us so that we can accomplish the task that our communities contributed us for. So this project here belongs to all of us, and we are going to reach out to all the people of South Sudan so that they can bless it, and so that they can also participate in shaping it and making it a wonderful project that will continue to talk about our history, our shared history, our shared suffering, and our victory together as people of the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I'm very happy that you tell us about when you came to Panyudo. But I like one thing about the Red Army in Panyudo. They like singing a lot. And we as well in Dimo, we like singing a lot. In support of the Red Army Foundation, kede jadi kugnal kudu yet bitak folk ugulena Ghana wide kede. Achan taban Red Army, they like singing, and those songs they inspire us. So right now I would like you to bring us one song, and also in support of the Red Army Foundation. Also, I will sing one of the songs from my Katiba. Katiba Bitai. So
I'm going to put on a song that I can sing along to. I will sing along to a certain song here. Let me open it, and then because there are many songs.
Why don't you do this instead of us to sing along? You know, it's very good. You know, you can sing by yourself. That will be really nice, because when we sing along, it will be just a noise with our radio.
Okay, just a moment. Let me do this. I will put it down, but I just want to go. I want. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay. Anina machine gidam.
Yes.
You mute yourself.
Tori de chudon rai ping kalanji ko wala. Tori de chudon rai ping kalanji ko wala. Digeja merpanda ka chu kongkon abugur songki wale jam Sudan. Makur kuwal abu ngai neran sora. Kenera iwo pio panda di na chuko pantianda. Maniro lui wala. Tori da chudon rai ping kalani ko wala. Jadi Vijay ja mer panda ka chu kongkon abugur songki wale jam Sudan.
I love it.
Tadi Vijay ja mer panda ka chu kongkon abugur songki wale jam Sudan. Jaya merwaye bongo. Aiwa jina fikala indena muskila.
Aiwa tijapia chairman.
Aiwa jina fikala indena muskila.
Good.
Thank you.
I applaud.
Thank you, comrade.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Now, in support of the Red Army Foundation, and of course, I was one of the Red Army. I was in Katiba Intifada. I will also put my song, Solidarity of our Matthias. So, in Dima, we used to say, Katiba Bitai, my own Katiba. Srietania Bugul. Jame neran wala SPLA wadin sekaya jama limergeri sambala ye sadi kafu sambala limergeri kalai kulyom nar ndom walk by kulyom nar je tarit diktor garang yen wasam sading madi chinom bay sading madi puyor kalai Bai keda ping keda pienda wa ping deng William me bai keda pienda wa muktari wa muksora chu konpol bai ngwen kubia sara.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. So basically, I thank you very much for your time. I thank you, Comrade Bol Makur of Lake State Media. I thank Lake State Media and all the hosts, the management team, the media team, the editors, everyone who put together this wonderful media platform together. We are with you. It is, of course, founded by the Red Army. So it is more like a Red Army media. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We hope you will be with us along the way as we continue to organize all over the world, mobilize resources, and take on our responsibility of building the nation, the mandate that our first commanding officer, the late Dr. John Garang Damabur, had given us, that you, the Red Army, shall build the new Sudan. And indeed, we are now building it. As we speak right now, while we were online here, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Sudan, has decreed the formation of 3 states, of Werap and of Northern Barghazal and of there's another state. There are three states that were and unity. Some of the Red Army who have been appointed to cabinet positions is one Kenyaleu in Werap. He is one of the ministers, and then also Valentino Achagdeng is also one of the ministers in Northern Barghazal. Akeji is in Werap, and then Lam Tungwa in Unity State is also a minister. So there are a lot of Red Army who have come up in the new government of Artigonu. So I want to say Congratulations, Mabruk Alaikum. And that is actually a progress that is now being attributed to the Red Army. I encourage you, my brothers, who have been appointed to those cabinet positions in all these 3 states, including the 4th state is actually the first state that was launched a few days ago, and that is Lake State. I mean, no, not Lake State, but Central Equatoria State, where Comrade Gore, Jacob Gore Samuel, was appointed Minister of, legal advisor on, advisor on legal affairs. So as you can see now, we have a lot of Red Army coming up, and this basically it fulfills the mandate that we had, that we shall build the new nation. And indeed, the Red Army now is contributing to the nation building process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. A lot of people, a lot of Red Army, they want to join the show, but we already exhaust the point, and Mr. Chairman we will leave him to go. Chairman, I would like you to promise the Red Army that you will come, we will host you again so they can ask questions. Now they have not asked questions because you were coming to explain the project. But I believe everybody is hoping
my brother,
to see you back.
I am the chairman of the Red Army Foundation, and I know Red Army. I'm not bothered by some of the comments that are made here. These are things I hear every day. And even if you call this person to debate me, these people will have nothing to prove at all, and these are the kinds of people who don't support anything that is positive. They just talk on the sidelines. There are many people who are watching here, about 42 people. How many people are actually making ridiculous comments? Maybe 1 or 2 people. So what does that tell you? If you have 100 people and only 2 people are different in opinion, then that doesn't bother anyone at all. You see? So in every family there are such people. In every community there are such people, and in every country there are such people. So it doesn't bother me at all. This project is going to work, like I said before, with or without them. This is basically the point, because this is not my project. It's not your project. It's a project of the Red Army, and it connects all of us from 1983 to 2005. And it's a tribute to what we have done, not what we are going to do. So the credit does not actually go to me or go to you who is hosting the show. The credit, it goes to what you have already done as Red Army. And if you don't want to remember what you had done before, then who is now the failure? It is actually you. My name is going to be, I was part of the liberation struggle. I was part of the Red Army program from the time it started until the end. And I am going to contribute to the success of this program by contributing my own money and my time. My name shall be written on that monument as a contributor. So I would have done 2 things. Number 1, I would have lived through the history. And at the same time, I would have contributed to making that history live forever. So why should I be bothered by someone that I already know is not going to contribute to making this project? Their part of the history is the one that is not going to be acknowledged, especially their names, because if they don't contribute to it, their names will not be mentioned. But guess what? They will still be mentioned and recognized because they are Red Army. We will recognize them for what they had done before. And we thank every Red Army who had contributed before, and especially those who are dead. And we are doing this for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. We are coming to the end of our show. You will be in Juba, and when you go there, we will send you Lake State Media members so they can host that show, or they can cover it. So I will communicate with you when you are on the ground. and one of the
Thank you.
Lake State media will be with you, so it will be covered. We will cover it, the one in Juba, because
Thank
this
you, my
project
brother.
is very important for us, and we would like it to go forward. When you come back from Juba, we will host you so you can brief the citizens of South Sudan about the project. Thank you so much, Chairman. I will let you go. God bless you, and God bless the memorial project of the Lost Boys. I hope everybody will contribute it, and I believe everybody will be united as we united before. We used to be very strong back in the day, so we need to bring that
Thank you.
spirit back.
It's going to be launched very soon, and the leaders of this project in the US, Canada, and Australia, all of them will actually come online and they will talk. Our leaders that are in South Sudan will also speak to the Lost Boys and to the Red Army worldwide. This project is going to work. It has already started. Many people have already contributed. So there's no problem. We are not worried at all. This is something that we got to do. No one else will do it for us. Thank you very much, my brother. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day, Mr. Chairman.